Just wanted to do a quick comparison of my new Analogue Pocket FPGA Game Boy device with my modified Game Boy Advance. Now they're both playing the same game, although this one is playing the Japanese variant. But they're 99% the same. I think the Japanese one allows me to have 3 game saves, and this only allows me to have 1 at a time. But I don't notice any difference playing the games. The screens, the displays on them are both very similar in terms of quality. I'm pretty sure this is a higher resolution screen, but playing the low-res game, it doesn't really make a difference. The sound is much louder and more crisp out of this. Versus, I could turn that up. It's about as loud as that gets. Maybe the batteries aren't the best. Actually, they're pretty new batteries. But that's at max volume. Versus that sounds great. I was apprehensive. I've been playing this for about 20 minutes now. I was apprehensive initially about the vertical orientation because I do prefer a horizontal orientation when it comes to handheld consoles. But since this is so large, it actually fits my hands just fine. And that's normally the reason I prefer the horizontal orientation. And if you look at it versus a classic Game Boy Advance, it's not terrible in terms of, the width. Compare this to a Game Boy Color, which is really narrow. It gets kind of hard to hold and hard to play well. You notice the D-pad is actually larger on the Analogue Pocket versus the Game Boy Advance. I'd say the buttons are positioned a little better on this. These are a little smaller, but the start and select being over here don't make much sense to me. This is a little better because I could still reach it with my right thumb, whereas this I have to use my left. Just a little bit of differences there, but overall I'm really impressed with this device so far. It was better than I expected it to be, and I'll probably be using it more than I initially thought I would. But anyway, if anything, this makes me feel good about the screen mod I did a few years ago on this GBA, because it really does look great. It's not quite as bright or quite as clear as this, but you got to really use a microscope to really tell the difference. And when you're playing it, you don't really care. It looks good enough. So I'll probably post more updates and more thoughts in the future. I'll probably jailbreak this thing if possible. But this is my first Pocket device, so we'll see how it works out.